Hello again, welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH back for another iOS game video. And earlier I showed you the original, the classic version of Karateka, and we also covered the Steam version of the new Karateka remake. And for thoroughness sake and just out of curiosity, I wanted to see if there was any differences with the iOS version versus the Steam version that actually uses buttons. And so let's take a look at the iOS version of the modern Karateka remake. There happens to be a couple of differences that I want to point out here. So let's hop into it right here. So Karateka, it'll just go into the main title screen of the game here. I'm going to tap the screen. Now remember, this is not an app that'll support voiceover or anything like that for any of the menus. This should look familiar from my little Karateka Let's Play. The one downside, the one right away visual, the knock that I would give it is that it doesn't support the Retina screen. It doesn't support the full resolution of the iPhone 5. I'm getting some letterboxing on the left and the right, which is unfortunate. So, too bad there. So we're just looking at the initial cutscene now where the girl is captured and she was not too happy with her captor, as it were. We got our warrior climbing up this cliff and we're gonna start fighting our first guy here pretty soon. So I may not have gotten all the controls right, but basically this is still pretty accessible, and if you want a full description, maybe with some nuances that I'm not quite sure of, they also have some really good descriptions on the AppleVis review of this app as well. So if I tap the screen and hold, I will move forward, and that's all I have to do. Remember, we're not moving left to right. There's no alternate pathway, so as long as I hold down the screen, now I'll hear music, then I know that my fight has started. And I am not looking at the screen. So remember from the earlier video, what we're hearing is when we hear some sort of like a musical tone, whether it would be a drum or, you know, the dong, 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 you know, whatever, you're going to hear those different types of sound effects, and that's going to tell you how many times you have to tap the screen to block. So we're going to hold the screen down and run. Okay, tap, 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 punch. There we go. And again, I'm really just tapping the screen to attack. And believe it or not, the actual blocking and fighting I almost find a little bit more responsive than the PC version, or for whatever reason, I seem to initially get the timing down a little bit better on this touchscreen. Kill that guy. Now coming up here is one of the... okay, right here. Yep. Now here is the problem that you're going to have if you play the iOS version. Remember initially on the PC, the Steam version, I didn't think that you could hear those little power-ups. And you actually can. And the nice thing about that version was that you could hit a button just to automatically grab it, no matter where it was located on the screen. The problem with the iOS version seems to be that, you know, we're not using virtual buttons, which is a good thing, but which means that if you want to collect these power-ups, you are going to have to actually hear them, but you're actually going to have to know where they are on the screen and actually tap that location of where they are. So my thought would be that if you are playing this with no vision, you may not be able to pick up these power-ups by yourself, unless maybe the first time through somebody kind of tells you, okay, the first power-up is sort of near the, you know, the middle right of the screen. The next one is, you know, sort of roughly wherever. So rather than holding the button, you know, holding the screen down to move forward, maybe you could, you know, tap a few times roughly until hopefully you hit it. That said, if you do end up moving past it, you know, you're out of luck. You're not going to be able to get it. So that is the one major downside to playing the iOS version if you do not have any vision, is that to the best of my knowledge, there's not really a consistent way to regain some of your health with these power-ups. Now, the first one is mandatory because it's giving you that little tool tip. So to get this first power-up, you want to touch, I would say, just a little bit to the right of the center of the screen and about a third of the way up, and we're playing in landscape. So, like I said, just to the right of the middle of the screen, sideways, and then, like I said, about a third of the way up. Okay, so he picks it up. Okay. Now we get another little... Anytime you sort of hear this this kind of music overall, like a lot more music in the background, that means you're getting to your cutscene. So we got the evil dude. We got her checking everything out from her little prison room there. And now we're back in it. So I'm going to hold the screen down again, and I'm not going to look. You hear him walking. And you'll hear us pause in the footsteps, and before you hear that little dong, you're kind of going to get to hear like him stop walking, so that'll give you a clue also that you're fighting, your next fight is coming up. I'm not going to play through the whole game this time. I'm just kind of wanting to give you some of the differences between the iOS version and the PC version, which I've noticed, and to show you what it is like on here. Mostly it's very playable. And funny thing is, I actually found, when I did play this all the way through once, I actually found fighting that stupid bird to be easier. Now I think there's a power-up. I am going to look at this. Okay, I think I had to fight this dude first. I want to say I think there's another power-up coming up, so I want to see if there's any other way that I can think of. Now, if you tap the screen with 2 fingers, that's how you do your little charge up. Once you get your meter full, you'll kind of hear a sound effect, and then you can do kind of your power-up attack. So you tap the screen with 2 fingers once, and then you pause for a second, and then you can just start tapping and unleashing. So I think, let's see. Okay, yep, I hear it. I hear the, you can't hear it on the video probably, it's a little hard to hear. Now, if because I know I can see it on the right hand side of the screen, it's pretty close to the right side of the screen, and about halfway, a little under half, or about halfway up. I'm just going to tap elsewhere. Yeah, see, every time I tap, I move forward just a tad. So now I've actually moved forward just enough where I can no longer really hear it, and I can no longer see it on the screen. So yes, unless you have some vision or have really memorized where each one of these things are or when, you're not going to be able to pick up those power-ups, unfortunately. Bummer. So the PC version, if you want the more accessible version, you probably want to go the PC version, because you actually have physical buttons, and there is a dedicated button just to getting those power-ups. So, whoop, I missed that. Alright. So overall, so far, the fighting I haven't done, well, actually I have done pretty badly because my health is almost gone. I was going to say I thought I was doing pretty good, but apparently I got whooped more than I thought I did so far. So I think I'll play maybe a couple more guys, or until my first warrior bites the dust, and then we'll wrap this one up. See if I can at least get across this bridge. Okay. Come on, buddy. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, that one he didn't have a sound, I swear. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And he's off the bridge. Huzzah. Okay. Yep, so now we've got another one. Again, this one is on the right-hand side of the screen, so if I do tap it, you hear a little bit of a chime and you see a little... So that's going to be the hardest part. But I think what I'm going to do is, you've seen a little bit of the fighting and kind of how the interface works for the iPhone or the iOS version. It's definitely playable. It just means you're really going to have to be a lot better at the fighting so you don't lose any health. But other than that stupid power-up annoyance, the game does seem to be pretty much playable to a totally blind user. That said, like I said, if you do want the ability to pick up health, I would recommend trying the PC version that I did the quick Let's Play of earlier on the YouTube channel. So that'll wrap up the classic and the modern remake of Karateka for iOS. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, I will talk to you guys soon.